appear here in Beijing, and can you please introduce yourself?
Hey there, my name is Yulin Shi, spelled as Yuilin, last name is Shi. I work for a company called cloudancing,
Cool.
Cloudancing. Sorry about that.
Perfect. And
Okay.
and what have you guys built?
We actually built a cloud secure data dispatching system. So a little bit too big word actually. If you really think about it, what we do is we help traditional companies to put their unstructured data into the public cloud. That's what we do.
Interesting. So, is it an example of this, for example, healthcare?
Oh
or like
yeah,
hospitals?
that'd be great. Yeah. So actually, that's one of our customers. So for instance, in the hospital, I was talking with Mackenzie.
Yeah, I saw that you were at a hospital very recently.
Yeah, I just went out of the hospital. So basically, this is what happened. If you go into the hospital, all the patients actually will take a lot of like images, like X-ray scan, all those type of things, and all those data are stored in their local storage for a long time. So if a patient is in the hospital, doctor will come in and visit the data very often. Once the patient leaves the hospital, after like a revisit, people may still want to see their data. Once the patient got cured and he probably don't want to go back to the hospital, it's not a very happy place for me actually. But when that happens, all the data becomes very cold. But nobody is ever going to use it normally, but it got sit into their local disk, SAN, and taking the spaces forever. With the government regulation, all the medical data need to be stored at least 15 years. And in the traditional ways, there's no better way. Basically, hospital will build their IT infrastructure. They will do the tape, do the Blu-ray, everything.
I'm shivering.
Oh yeah, it's really heavy maintenance work actually. If you think about the machine got changed, the format got changed, every a year or two you need to re-render your tape to make sure the data is still usable, those type of things. It's a really painful process for the hospital, not to mention it's a lot of like maintenance cost, everything.
And plus, these images are not small.
Oh, it's not small. So like the hospital we have been working on, it's like simply they have like about 700 terabytes. So think about it, it's a lot of disks.
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of stress of making sure that data is still accessible.
Exactly. Every few years you need to replace your disk, something went bad, and you need to make sure the data is still usable, you can read it back.
So how does your company solve this? So you guys provide a device that gets plugged in?
Yes. That's basically, everything can be, how do you say? We get everything worked out in this pure software actually. But to make the life easier for the hospital, they are a hospital, they are doctors, they are not IT guys, right? So we build a box. The box is basically doing this. We call it ITS, it's intelligence tier storage. What we do is, just like the hospital sample we are talking about, we put this device into their local data center, they plug into their network. All they need to do is put their data into this box. The box is smart enough to move data, depends on the how do you say, the rotation policy, everything. So move their data into public cloud. Like for instance, with Amazon, the AWS, the S3 storage, we actually leverage all their object storage levels. They have the hot online storage, they have cold storage, and glacier storage with different pricing model. So with like hospital example, we can put the patients, whoever is in the hospital, into the hot area. Then people leave the hospital, we put into the cold area. After another 6 months, everything goes into glacier. For there, store for another 50 years with very low minimal cost.
And I know that, you talk about healthcare data, and that's some of the most sensitive data that exists in the world.
Exactly.
So from a security perspective, what are some best practices that you deploy to ensure that data stays safe?
So this is what we are doing. That's about the biggest concern for the hospital and whoever is take seriously on their own data. So basically, if the data got to store into the public cloud, it is out of their own territory. Basically, is owned by somebody else. What we do is basically we take the data in that box, in that local network, inside the local network. We take that data into the device. The device will take a few steps to make sure it is secure to transfer out. So first we do a compression, we do a dedupe, we do encryption with AES, and we split it into small chunks or segments, you say it, or then we distribute it into multiple locations. Well, what I mean multiple locations, if you think about it, it could be many different data centers, regions, data centers. So even across public cloud, like I put 20% into AWS, another 20% into AWS US, another 20% into Azure, Microsoft Azure, then what I so on.
Excellent. But and then currently, majority of the data is stored in AWS.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I'm your favorite provider.
And I mean, this service is applicable beyond just healthcare. So I think you mentioned something out of LA. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's another very interesting scenario actually. So if you think about what we do here is we took data from one place, distributed it out into multiple locations or data centers. Then if you think reversely through this process, you can actually go through multiple data centers to get data back securely. So basically, I make a secure connection to one data center, then the other side will use the same way to reverse the entire process to get everything back. This scenario we were talking about the movie thingy, right? Sorry about that. So this is another thing. There's a movie, and the Chinese company is investing on it, and a Hollywood movie company is doing the old film. The total overall data they projected is about 5 terabytes. It's a lot of data. For all the raw materials, let me do it in the IMAX or whatever, I don't know for sure. I never saw anything. So then the thing becomes, during the entire process of filming this film, they actually have a lot of images and data. And all these images, they need to send out to many different locations. They told me it's about like 20 different locations globally around the world, basically to processing their data. So rendering the picture, how do you say, processing it, something like that. I don't know the specific word for the movie industry there. Then there's a requirement or what they want. Basically, before the film got published out into the movie theater, they cannot leak out not even a single image out of it. So no, they don't want people to know whatever they are doing. What we do for them is we are using this segment distribution type of system. Basically, put their data distribute out into many AWS data centers globally. Then instruct all their processing center to suck the data back into their local network, process it, then push the data back in again. With doing all this, the data is in Amazon data centers globally, securely distributed out with many different locations, something like that.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that here's a device that's so applicable across so many different industries.
Right.
It's really cool to hear that you guys are enabling customers to leverage the cloud without having to really lift a finger. You do all the heavy lifting for them.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, and
that's
so
what make them feel easy to get up into cloud.
fantastic. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.